Hello to everyone and welcome to today's Catalyst Center virtual event. My name is Tanner Swift and I'll be your host for today's session. I'm excited to introduce a couple wonderful speakers for you today, but before I hand the mic over to our presenters, we do have a few housekeeping items to cover about this presentation. Today's virtual event will be recorded and made available on demand after the live session, and the playback will also be available on YouTube for rewatch as well. We will provide you with some further details at the end of today's event on that. Also, we'd love to hear from you during today's presentation. During the session, if you have any questions for our presenters, you can submit them via the audience Q&A section on Slido, where we will answer your questions live or during the Q&A portion of today's event. You'll see some QR codes sprinkled throughout today's session where you can participate, so be on the lookout for those. There will also be a couple poll questions for you to participate in via Slido, as well as a survey near the end of today's session for you to provide some feedback. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Brian Stanford, who will later be joined by Casey Hamilton, who are going to dive into the key new capabilities for Catalyst Center 2.3.7.9. Brian, right over to you.
Hey guys, really excited to be here for you guys and share what's new in 2.3.7 and cover some of the important updates for 2.3.7.9. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's see. All right, so Tanner's already introduced. I'm Brian Stanford. My cohort's going to be Casey Hamilton. He'll go over the demo later. Here's your QR code so you could interact with us on Slido, ask questions, and participate in our poll. So we're super excited to kind of hear more about your experience, where you are today on your Catalyst Center journey, or if you're not on your Catalyst Center journey, we're super excited for you guys to join us and learn about what's new. So today, what we're going to cover is, the new features. So we're going to cover a lot of the things that you may have seen previously with 2.3.7. So we're going to go over things, in our Catalyst Center, formerly known as Cisco DNA Center 2.3.7, and then highlight those 2.3.7.9. We're going to dive into Catalyst Center features with the enhanced visibility and controls that allow you to preview your device configurations before you deploy them. So you get enhanced security and a better feel for what's going to be deployed. And also learn how Catalyst Center now supports our generic MIBs, so you can manage and monitor multi-vendor devices directly within the platform. So super excited to kind of cover some of these. So poll number one, what we're looking for is to find out what version of Catalyst Center are you currently running? Are you running an older 2.2x? Are you somewhere in the middle with 2.3.2 to 2.3.4? Are you at 2.3.5 or 2.3.7? Maybe you don't have Catalyst Center installed. So definitely looking for some interaction here and find out what you're running and see what questions you might have. So looking forward to that. I'll give you guys just a second if you needed to scan the QR code, but hopefully you guys are having a good experience with Catalyst Center so far. And for our agenda, all right, we're going to go all the way from your different personas, from NetOps all the way down to DevOps. So it doesn't really matter which role you're trying to use Catalyst Center for, whether it's your AI Ops or your SecOps or your DevOps. We've got something for you in the presentation today. So when we look at 2.3.7, right, some of the key new features and enhancements that were brought in for your AI apps, to improve performance. So event analytics, your preview dashboards, new third-party device support, and support for wired assurance there. In the NetOps, right, we've got enhanced efficiency, your third-party generic MIB2 visibility, so visibility and control, our Cisco 9800 wireless LAN controller, onboarding template support, and then your AVC and QoS auto enablement. For SecOps personas, we've got new managed security policies, so LAN automation enhancements, our new SD Access UI 2.0, and SD Access compatibility checker. For your DevOps folks, we've got new and enhanced APIs, so it's always interesting to see what new APIs we have. Specifically within our 2379, right, we introduced some new key enhancements across the 4 pillars. All right, so under performance, we now support Wi-Fi 7. So the Cisco Wi-Fi 7 access points were launched, and first order will last November. So they've been shipping. So hopefully you guys are seeing them come in if you've ordered some. And with 2379, we support those Wi-Fi 7 access points with insights in the client health dashboard. Also, we've got efficiency improvements. So we include editable wireless configurations, your wireless automation for CNS licenses, and updates to the license manager. In our security and policy, right, we've added ISSU support for the 9400 Edge and enhanced APIs. And finally, our deployment options expanded with Cisco First APIs and new Ansible workflows. So platform-wide, we've improved our RCA data, remote support authorization, and mixed HA cluster support. So looking forward to folks getting, these new features for the platform, enhancing your RCA data for provisioning failures, getting support for your mixed HA clusters, and getting that remote authorization support. So here we're going to cover our Cattle Center platform scale, right? Key things is, with your virtual appliance, your ESXi or your AWS, right? We've got up to 1,000 device support. With your medium appliance, we've got still 1,000 device support. And when you go to your large and extra large devices, right, we go from 2,000 to 5,000. And when you go to your XL DN3s, 3-node cluster, you get up to 10,000 device support. So when you look at the breakdown between your wireless LAN controllers and APs, you see that you could scale, using ESXi from 4,000 all the way to the large 3-node, the extra large 3-node cluster with 25,000 APs and 2,000 wireless LAN controllers. So there's lots of scale. Our SD Access Fabric site scale has grown as well. So you see from 2,000 with your ESXi and your medium hardware appliance up to your large and extra large, going 4 and 8,000. So some of the keynotes is really that there's not much of a scale difference between the DN2 and the DN3 appliance, right? And on the DN2s, the keynote to remember is that you had core specifications on the M5 UCS 220 of 44, 56, and 112 cores, depending on where you were going. So when you look at the scale numbers, right, we scale up for the Gen 3 cluster was only qualified for the XL appliances. The other hardware appliances for the 3N configuration hasn't been qualified for higher scale. But for SD Access, we have the same scale as 1 node. So look for the updates in the data sheet for 237 to get your clustering and scaling numbers, along with what we've got on the slide here. Also remember, you've got the deployment guide and the DN3 ordering guides as well. Those are available on Cisco.com today. Another thing that was added that I think is unique is the mixed support of HA clusters. So if you're looking to upgrade your hardware, you can actually mix hardware. So you could upgrade your cluster in pieces without having to take a significant downtime to upgrade all 3 nodes in your cluster at once. So by allowing a combination of the 2nd and 3rd generation appliances, it gives you flexibility for managing and planning your hardware upgrades. And it's important to note that the 1st generation appliances are no longer supported in the mixed cluster. So you need to have the DN2 or DN3s for the mixed cluster support. Also, to ensure consistency and performance, all 3 nodes in the cluster must share the same machine profile. So make sure that you've got the same machine profile for the nodes in the cluster. The update enhances the system resilience, and also maintains the architecture compatibility. And there's also more information can be found in the Catalyst Center HA guide for 237X. That's out on CCO as well. Here in the slides, we have a chart, right? So we've got the support matrix for the different hardware platforms in the cluster. This information is also available online, but it's the mixed HA cluster, as you can see in the top corner, is one of the new 2379 features. So as you see the slides, if you look through, you'll notice that the 2379 in the right-hand corner are the ones where we're calling out these are 2379 features versus 237X features. So looking at it, right, you've got the various number of cores. So from a medium to large and extra large, right? Your DN1 appliances that are no longer supported in the mixed HA cluster. So you look at DN2s and 3s, where you've got your number of core changes here. And we'll get into our NetOps. So for NetOps, what's super interesting is the generic MIB support. So IT departments, often are multi-vendor, so that's a challenge to manage. And what's nice is now that you have the SNMP MIB to support for better visibility of your entire network, so you can have your inventory and your topology details across your mixed environment. And hopefully this simplifies your network management and improves your oversight. One extra thing to mention on the slides there is that your third-party devices are defined as non-Cisco. So you got your MIB2 support, and they can be added to Catalyst Center. Cisco doesn't offer any additional support for the devices, but at least you have your visibility. So the feature can actually help you manage a complex network, at least with additional visibility within Catalyst Center. So when you look at some of the details that you have on the MIB2 support, right, you have your device discovery and inventory. You can see your device uptime, interface up-down status, and then the name of the vendor of what the device is in a device 360 view. For visibility and control, right, what we've got is the ability to really take control of your network and configurations. And this is one of the newly enhanced features in 237. So some of the benefits you have are like previewing your configuration here. So you can actually see a preview of what your device is going to provision. Given this, this extra visibility, you don't get a surprise. There's no guesswork when you click submit and try to push a new config. So the feature lets you preview an actual, command line interface view or a netconf, what's used in your operations, giving you complete clarity. So you can view the changes, and it's not only about seeing the commands that are going to go, it's about understanding the impact. All right. So with Catalyst Center, it lets you view the configuration details, highlight exactly what's going to be added, modified, or removed. This way, across most of your Catalyst Center workflows in your provisioning. So then you get to submit for approval. Now there's direct integration with ServiceNow. If you have ServiceNow ITSM, before any changes go live, you can automatically send the configuration previews for approval. And this ensures compliance, reduces errors, and streamlines your configuration management process. And then to top it all off, you've got your view status, so you'll always know where your configurations stand. You can track the status right there in the task menu. With our new 9800 day zero onboarding templates, so they devices during onboarding. So the feature previously was unavailable due to potential configuration conflicts. But now we can ensure a seamless integration and avoid overriding intended configurations. So 2 safeguards are in place, right? The real-time conflict warning. So the conflict warning will be displayed in the template creation, specifically for the 9800 devices. This immediate effect highlights any potential issues before you have a deployment. Also is the intent warning. So this is generated during the plug-and-play claims process when applying the template. So this additional check helps prevent any unintended configuration changes that may conflict with your overall network intent. So these warnings empower you to review and modify your configuration, ensuring a smooth and conflict-free deployment of your day zero templates to your 9800 devices. You have the flexibility to either address the identified conflict, or you can proceed with the deployment and override the warning if you deem that appropriate. So your AVC and QoS auto enablement, what you'll find here is that we've simplified the application and visibility in your QoS for wired devices in Catalyst Center. So when onboarding devices through plug and play or assigning them to a site, these features will automatically activate if they're enabled for those sites. Previously, the configuration involved several steps, but now it's streamlined within the site assignment process for the Cat9K switches. This improvement enhances the user experience and makes enabling the application and data policies more efficient. Also, we've got our netconf configured during day zero PNP. So for Greenfield plug and play, the process simplifies device onboarding, enhances telemetry collection. During the PNP claiming process, right, netconf and AAA configurations are automatically applied as the day zero setup. These configurations can be reviewed in the preview configuration section on the summary page at the end of the PNP claim workflow. And by streamlining the process, netconf provides overall efficiency and data collection capabilities for your network infrastructure, and it's supported in the day zero for the switching platforms. And as in this slide, you can see this is another 2379 feature, specifically the ability to edit wireless device configurations. So in this latest release, Catalyst Center provides a more flexible and efficient way to manage the wireless device configuration. So admins can now view a summary of the wireless settings and make incremental edits directly on the devices without needing to create new profiles. So it supports a wide range of profiles from SSID to RF or Flex or ROM and multicast on the 9800 series controllers running iOS XE 17.12 or later. This enhancement streamlines your day-to-day operations while preserving intent-based automation for previous onboarded controllers. And you also have the ability to, let's see, so here's our demo part. Let me go ahead and switch over and let's share the video. This will be a walkthrough, so we'll give you a quick demo. So I'll go ahead and hit play here. So here, I'll show you how to edit a wireless LAN profile on your Cisco wireless LAN controller. So first, you navigate over to the device details page of your wireless LAN controller, go to the configuration, and then you'll find all your wireless LAN profiles currently attached to the wireless LAN controller. If you want to make changes to the site tags area, you can edit the site tags if you want. You can open it for editing. For example, you might want to switch a wireless LAN profile from local configuration to a Flex Connect profile. And depending on your network needs, once you've made your changes, you can review the new settings and make sure everything looks good. And after that, you just hit provision to send the update configuration to the wireless LAN controller. Then you'll see a summary of all the changes, confirming that the new profile settings have been successfully deployed to your device. All right, and then back over to our slides here. So a new thing in 2379 is the license manager enhancement for Cisco networking subscriptions. So along with the launch of the Wi-Fi 7 access points, we've also launched the Cisco networking subscriptions and the licenses that are tied to those devices. So the license manager enhancements introduce the ability specifically in 2379 for Cisco networking subscriptions. And we've improved the out of compliance notices across the various UI interfaces. So including inventory and the wireless LAN controller workflows. They provide greater visibility into your licensing status. A key feature is a direct cross-launch capability into the license manager for easier registration. And importantly, the new release introduces support for those Wi-Fi 7 access points, specifically for the networking subscription model licenses, requiring the wireless LAN controller run 17.15. I guess a nuance to this this new networking subscription is that you could use these wireless access points on Catalyst Center, and then at a later date, if you decide that you want to migrate them over to the Meraki dashboard, you don't have to purchase a new license, right? You could use the same license, move the device into license, consume it on the other controller. So I think that's super powerful. That way, no matter what your needs are in the future, you have the ability to use the license and the device without additional purchases. Also, remember that after any change, a reboot is required for the configuration, and the user interface will provide the workflow clearly indicate that a reboot is necessary. So we explicitly obtain the consent to, checkbox to confirm this. So the new things, right? There's a new AI ships with the worldwide safe mode by default. So the new APs do not require, to be regionally specific. And, as a user, you can change the, from Network Essentials to Network Advantage or the default license level. So you could manage all that in the new license manager. Here we go over a few steps. All right, so you hit the landing page of the license manager where you'll be able to see all your devices listed. And in the example, it shows just one device, but normally you can have all your devices listed here. From this view, you'll be able to select multiple devices and then head over to the actions menu to perform different tasks. In the actions menu here, you'll see an option called change license. And from there, you can choose to change the license. This used to be, change DNA license, but we've updated it to change Cisco license because we've moved the DNA licenses on the legacy devices to a new unified licensing model. So you'll see both the DNA license for your legacy, and you'll also see the Cisco license for your new devices as well. And then after you select the option, you'll see a pop-up on the screen with a few choices. Again, for the example, we have the option to remove the license if that's what you need, or you could change the license, like switching from an Advantage to Essential or Essential to Advantage. And as you see, we have both the DNA and the Unified tabs here for both license structures. So initially, right, these tabs weren't available, but they were added in 2379 to support the new Unified license model. And now you've got the checkbox showing success. I might have went too far here. Let me go back. Well, let's see. Here we go. So you got the change license, and then after you hit submit, you have the success confirmation. And the wireless automation, so support for the new CNS license. All right, so the Wi-Fi 7 APs are shipped in worldwide safe mode. As a user, you want to be notified of license enforcement in place for the Wi-Fi 7 APs prior to provisioning them. So the slide highlights our continued investment in wireless automation, specifically supporting the CNS license within Catalyst Center 2379. are your Cisco networking services, provided a streamlined and consistent licensing model across your networking infrastructure. So within the release, you're managing your wireless licenses become more integrated with the Cisco Catalyst Center interface. And you notice that the prompt for license management also ensures your access points are compliant. This enhancement simplifies operations and provides a unified way of your networking licensing status, aligning with your broader wireless license automation strategy. So the Cisco networking subscription licenses are specifically for the Wi-Fi 7 APs. They also come now with the new some new Catalyst switches as well. So these can all be managed through Catalyst Center, providing visibility into your license status, compliance, non-compliance reasons, and your Catalyst Center allows you to manage that life cycle of your Cisco networking subscription licenses, including purchasing, usage, and license availability. And now we'll get into AI Ops. So we'll look at the event analytics preview dashboard. So we've got an updated events analytics dashboard in Catalyst Center that replaces the chronological listing with an enhanced view. So this dashboard features heat maps that categorize and display syslog messages counts by severity and tracks the wired and wireless network events reachability transitions. So with the upgrade, it helps the network administrators better understand the vast amounts of data generated by the network devices, providing AI-driven insights into the most recent events. So when the events happen the most, when they're the highest priority events, which events are the most common and which events are the least common. Sometimes it's the least common events that can trigger something that you want to look into. So the event analytics needs to be enabled under the AI analytics page, and it requires the DNA Advantage licenses. So assurance, event issues and events, and event analytics preview. I guess also note is that the data retention is about 60 days. So giving the user good visibility into what's been happening in the last couple of months. We've also got third-party device for assurance. So looking at the Catalyst Center wired assurance, now we support third-party devices, so monitoring and troubleshooting them directly from the overall and network and device 360 assurance health dashboards. So by default, they are categorized into core device family. So any issues related to these devices can be viewed in the settings dashboard. So you can at least see from an overall perspective what type of syslog messages and things you've got happening in those devices from the 360 dashboard. So again, another new feature in the 2379 is the Wi-Fi 7 support. So our client health dashboard. So we've introduced the new client health dashboard for 2379 with Cisco Wi-Fi 7 multiple link operation. So clients can connect simultaneously across different bands. This enhancement allows you to monitor the connectivity metrics for these devices and links, and these diverse links across a comprehensive set of views for your clients. So you gain the ability to track key connectivity KPIs across multiple links with support for the 4 KPIs per link like RSSI, SRN, and special stream and channel. So the functionality requires MLO-capable client devices operating on the multiple links. But if you've got those types of clients, now you get better visibility into the spectrum and the links that they're using. And we'll get into SecOps. So with SecOps, we have our new SD Access User Interface 2.0, which is now the standard, offering a simplified and intuitive user experience. It includes a virtual network view that simplifies fabric dependencies and correlates your virtual networks with a number of the components like the SGTs, the IP pools, and the subnets. The enhanced interface also features separate pages for configuring your fabric sites, your virtual networks, and your transits, each with an overview and table view. Additionally, the fabric site page also provides tips, insights, and progress updates on workflows. Overall, the UI 2.0 streamlines your network deployment and management for a better overall user experience. We've also got LAN automation enhancements. So this is another 237 feature that allows you to initiate up to 5 LAN automation sessions concurrently, one per site. So this enables your zero-touch onboarding of your plug-and-play ready switches at multiple locations, speeding up the deployment of a fully automated routed access underlay network. A dedicated landing page simplifies the workflow. And remember, simultaneous sessions within the same site are not supported, so each session requires a distinct seed device list and IP pool. So we also have the SD Access compatibility checker. So the new software image compatibility checker feature ensures that our Fab devices run compatible software versions for our SD Access. It automatically downloads the compatibility matrix or allows manual uploads for air-gapped environments. The feature supports various Fabric roles and checks new devices added to the Fabric sites, zones, or transits. It helps our network administrators maintain our SD Access compatibility by identifying and reporting devices running non-compliant images. This proactive approach ensures a smooth operation and prevents potential issues from being caused by incompatible software versions. We also have our in-service software upgrade. So new in 2379 is that if you've got devices that have multiple RPs, you can actually run the in-service software upgrade or ISSU support within the Fabric, starting with Catalyst Center 2379. So ISSU allows the software to be upgraded with minimal or no network downtime. So it's critical for maintaining business continuity for those customers that have those devices. So enabling ISSU requires specific considerations. The devices must be the Cisco 9404R, 9407R, or 9410R models with the dual supervisors, and function in a pure Fabric edge role. Additionally, all devices involved must be running at least iOS XE version 17.15.1. Our SD Access API enhancements. So the API enhancements introduced here in 2379 are added specifically to support bulk and selective deletion of port channels, streamlining network configuration management. So now you can configure your authentication profiles at a global level, simplifying your policy enforcement. Furthermore, the API now supports get and put operations for authentication profiles, specifically in relation to access control lists. And finally, the release enables the application of configuration changes to the Fabric site after migrating an IPv4 pool to a dual stack IP pool, ensuring a smoother transition. Next, we'll get into our DevOps. So here in our DevOps, right, we've got the new sets of APIs. So we have our version 2 set. What's interesting about what 237 introduces with these new APIs is we've got compliance, our configuration archive, our device onboarding like plug and play devices, event management, LAN automation, new assurance events, sites, system settings, and user roles. So for our SD Access API enhancements, right, we've got the AP policies, policy APIs, our licensing APIs, network settings, SDA, sensor, tags, wireless, Fabric health, network health and performance. So what specifically you see is that we've got some updates and some APIs that have been deprecated. We've got new reports with new inventory reports, and we've got new events management, like license events management for the new license, Cisco networking subscription, and also system internal events. So we've got the API developer resources for 2379 here that we'll get into more details if you have any particular questions around those API enhancements for 2379. And here we have our Catalyst Center upgrade path. So looking at our Catalyst Center upgrade path, if you're running anything pre 232 here, you'd have to take an intermediate hop. But if you're at 233 and above, you can go directly over to 237 or 2379. You note that 2379 is the recommended release and the gold star release when you go to the software download page. So if you're running a older version of Catalyst Center, right, you've got a multi-upgrade path that you'll have to go through. And as always, right, refer to the Catalyst Center software upgrade page on CCO and the upgrade guides for 2379 on CCO as well. And here we'll get into poll number 2. So what feature do you currently, features do you currently use? So if you've got Catalyst Center, or you're using all the features, are you more specifically using like plug and play or maybe assurance events? Do you have SDA deployed? So really just looking to gauge what you're using Catalyst Center for out there, and to see hopefully you've seen some new things here, like maybe some of the new APIs that you might want to leverage. So again, I'll just give you a second for the QR code if you want to interact with us there. We definitely appreciate the interaction and the questions, and look forward to seeing what we can do to get some of those questions answered for you. I would say after this, we can hand it back over to Tanner, and I appreciate it. Thanks for listening in. Hopefully you guys got some insights out of our 237 what's new session so far.
Thanks so much, Brian. Really appreciate it. We'll bring you back in shortly for some key points to cover, as well as our Q&A portion of today's event. As Brian did mention, that QR code will also direct you to the Q&A portion on Slido. You can ask a question to Brian or Casey, and we will cover those during our Q&A portion of today's event. At this time, we are going to bring in Casey Hamilton, who is going to take us through a demo. Casey, right over to you.
Can you hear me? Better. Awesome. Thank you. Hello, everybody. So I'm going to kind of give you a snapshot of what Brian just went over within a live demo of Catalyst Center. So you should be able to see my screen. And you can see I'm on the homepage of Catalyst Center. The version I'm running right now is 2.3.7.9. So it's at the latest and greatest. If I go over, this page will just give you a dashboard. This has been here a while of like your overall health of your network. If I go over to design, network hierarchy, we can see this Catalyst Center is managing multiple, it's worldwide scale at this point. It's managing multiple regions, multiple areas, data centers, buildings. So this is our design and network hierarchy. But the big thing I want to cover with you is the new changes that are in 2.3.7. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to System Settings, and we're going to look at visibility and control. This is a pretty big feature that allows you to do change management. Before you actually deploy configuration out, it needs to be reviewed so that it doesn't cause any outages or things like that. You can get peer review going on. So the first thing that is involved in this is visibility and control. So I could click to do configuration preview, and what this does is it requires me to review and double check my workflow. What is it that I'm going to configure? What does my configuration look like before? I'm going to configure it, and how is it going to change thereafter. And it enables me to see if I'm going to have any issues before I actually deploy. The other option, you can see it's grayed out right now, but ITSM approval is an option as well. What this does is it allows you to integrate ITSM managers such as ServiceNow to actually have a formal ticket management change review process before actually deploying configurations out. And ServiceNow needs to be integrated in order for this to be able to be toggled. And we do have a lot of information out there. And we also do webinars from time to time on ServiceNow integration as well and how to set that up. So what's our configuration show you? I'm going to go to, anytime you think about provisioning a network device or pushing configuration out to a network device, think of that configuration preview step as being triggered. It's going to ask you to preview that configuration as long as it's enabled. So let's see this in action. I'm going to go to provision inventory. I'm going to pull up a device. I'll click this device and select view device details. And give it just a second. And we can see it pulled up a bunch of information here. We have interfaces we can pull from, VLANs that are configured, gives us port status. We can shut down ports from here. I can look at the VLANs that are configured here. Go to the system, go to interfaces, device summary. I can select a specific port. I can let it know that I want to shut down this port, and it'll attempt to shut it down. I could change the VLAN right here as well. You click save. What that'll do is configure the VLAN. I can go down here and select VLAN under layer 2 configuration, and I can click edit. What this will do is it will allow me to add VLAN, so I don't have to go to the actual CLI, nor do I have to configure a template editor, which we'll go into in just a sec, doing configurations from template editor. But what I can do here is click add VLAN. Let's say I'll give it a VLAN ID of 150, and I'll give it voice, and I'll click save. And what that'll do is it's going to say added. This does not mean it's provisioned yet. It just means I'm about to add this virtual network. And click next. And close that. You can see that right here, because of the visibility control that was enabled within settings for Catalyst Center, it's now grayed out now and later. This means that I can't schedule it now. I can't implement it now. I can't schedule it for later. I need to go through preview and deploy and make sure everything looks good. So this is what it enabled. I'm going to click next. What it's going to do is it's going to run device compliance checks, pending operations, make sure everything's going to go smooth when I deploy this out to the devices. You can see here, it's getting the current running configuration of these devices. Really, the idea is what's going to happen is I need to make sure, hey, are there other VLANs on here? Like VLAN, is there VLAN 150 already configured on here? Is it going to give me any issues when I deploy VLAN 150? This is the configuration to be deployed. This is the configuration that needs to be analyzed. And this is how I can quickly search in between the two. So it'll give me a lot of insight, but it's not pulling up anything from the running config, which means I should most likely be good to go, but you can check other things as necessary as well, depending on what you are deploying. And then what I can do is I can click deploy, and it'll deploy it. It'll allow me to schedule it out for later, unless you have ITSM integrated, which is going to require that ticket to be approved within change management as well. Okay. So that's it for the first feature that Brian covered. Next up, what I want to do is go into policy application QoS. This is a fairly minimal feature. This not much has been added here, but the ability to deploy by default on wired devices. So when you do when you provision any wired devices and you're working with QoS, you're developing a QoS policy, you have the ability to check right here. And what this is going to do is anytime you go and deploy configuration over to a wired device, it'll it'll deploy the QoS configuration you have defined there as well. Let me log in. Just booted me out, so 1 second. Okay. All right, so we're back in. That was a very simple thing that was added. Next up is tools, template editor. You may be familiar with template editor if you've done any kind of onboarding, PMP onboarding, day in configuration. So deploying configuration out to your network devices after they have been onboarded in the DNA Center or Catalyst Center. It was found here, tools template editor. However, you'll notice it's called template hub right here, which actually has changed to CLI templates. You'll see right here, if I click CLI templates, this was moved under design. So previously it was under tools, now it's under design. Reason being is CLI templates, it comes down to workflow. And usually when you're configuring a template, the next step for working with templates is going to be working with network profiles. What this is going to do is map the configuration that you configure within the CLI templates over to a profile that's assigned to a device type and a site location. These two things are important because when you go and provision a certain template to one device, that device needs to match your location. It also needs to match the device type as well based on the template you created. So CLI templates is what it's called now. We can see that we have a bunch of templates already created. They support Jinja, which is the recommended one, which you can get very programmatic with this. It supports velocity as well. If I go over to the one we're going to be working with, it's the WLC PNP template. It's configured in velocity. And you can see the configuration is listed here. Here I'm calling out a variable. When I go and provision this template over to a wireless controller, it'll ask me to fill out this host name over to it. A couple other enhancements that have been added into this new workflow, the CLI templates, is previously you didn't have the ability to attach network profiles straight from Template Hub or Template Editor. Now you do. So you don't have to go to design and then go to network profiles. You can create one and assign this right on the fly by clicking that. And we can see here, it's already assigned to a profile called New York WLC. So there's two requirements that need to happen in order for the WLC to obtain this template when it gets onboarded. One is it needs to be assigned to the network, the network location, that site. And the other one is that it needs to be assigned to that profile as well. And also it needs to be a wireless controller. This template right here, we can see it's a type wireless. That needs to be present as well. If I try to deploy this template over to a wired switch, it wouldn't show up ever. It'll only show up for wireless device types in this case. Which leads me to the new enhancement that was done for PNP. So if I go to provision, plug and play, we just went over that wireless template. And now I'm going to go ahead and pull up this WLC, this wireless controller right here. And the expectation is that once I try and claim this device, that template is going to be available. Now, one thing we noticed within that network profile was that it was assigned to New York. So if I were to pick any other site here, that template will not show up. It's a key thing, and it helps make sure that everything is standardized within your deployment. So that template, that configuration was intended for New York. So I'm going to go ahead and click assign right there. We got that, and then I'm going to click next. And now it's going to fetch the configuration. We can see it found that template. We are just looking at the WLC 9800 PNP template. So I'm going to click that, and it'll give me information. There we go. There's the configuration we just looked at. And I'll continue going through the workflow, and what that'll do is that will deploy the configuration. It'll also deploy the image, the golden image for that device type to get it up to speed as well. So that's one of the new enhancements as well, is that Catalyst Center WLCs 9800s, they now support being able to have a template deployed to them. Previously, that was not the case, but now you can deploy a template over to them. Okay, so the next thing is the SDA. For SDA, you'll go to Fabric Sites. Core feature, new feature here is the UI itself. Here's the new UI. If you ever wanted to switch back to the old UI, you can absolutely do so by clicking here if you're more comfortable with that. However, you will quickly see that the new UI it's a lot more intuitive. It also has a lot more workflows to ease your transition into adopting software-defined access. So here you can see the old one is pretty basic. However, when I go over to the newer widget, has workflows to create Fabric sites right here. It's a lot more clean. We can configure multicast, and it'll kind of guide you through. If you're not as familiar with SDA, it can be very helpful to use these workflows as you go through and create even virtual networks. Virtual networks, you can create a layer 3 virtual network, layer 2. It'll walk you through creating Anycast gateways, all of this stuff that fits into creating a successful fabric. So recommend utilizing the newer widget, the newer dashboard for SD access. It should help quite a bit for you in 2.3.7. And then one other thing about SDA, which is really neat, is it's going to, there's a new feature that was implemented. I'm going to pull it up here. You can toggle it on within system settings. It's called SD Access Compatibility Matrix. What it's going to do is it's going to check if any devices are out of compliance when you go and deploy your Fabric network, and thereafter. If you go and upgrade any devices, it's going to flag that and say, hey, you're about to upgrade a device that's in a Fabric, and this is going to make it not compliant. It's not going to be compatible with your SDA matrix. And this is how you can check. You can import from local, you can import from latest from Cisco, import from local if you're in an air gap deployment, that is absolutely possible. And here is how you enable the SD access image compatibility checks. Once that's enabled, within inventory, you'll start receiving alerts if any devices do become non-compliant with it, if they are part of the Fabric. You can also check that here within the inventory section. So I'm going to pull up a device and show you how to check that manually. Here I'll click the 98, actually that one's unreachable. So I'm going to click this device.
Just a quick technical issue with Casey's screen. We'll get you right back to the demo here as he returns. Just a quick reminder, if you do have a question for Casey or Brian on today's session, head on over to Slido, ask your question there. We've been answering some throughout the session. You can use either the QR codes on your screen, one for some more information about today's event, and then the other to get over to Slido. And we got Casey back here with us, so we're going to kick it right back over to him to wrap up this demo.
All right, thank you, Tanner. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties just came in there at the end of this demo. So what we have here is basically SD access. It's going to continually check the if your networks are compatible with SDA, making sure whether they're in the Fabric or not. So it'll check to make sure that they're compatible. Last thing I wanted to finish up with was the API enhancements that Brian mentioned. So I'm going to go and over to Platform Developer Toolkit. And then we're going to load, there's tons of APIs. There's over 500 APIs in Catalyst Center. So I'm sure you're aware of many of the integrations that Catalyst Center supports, such as ICE or IPAM and things like that. They all communicate with Catalyst Center through APIs. And you can develop your own applications that can utilize these APIs to integrate systems throughout your network, even develop your own applications. And one thing to know about as you start using these APIs, if you're wanting to do that, if you're wanting to perform some automation, is Cisco is doing an API first initiative to make sure that as you upgrade your APIs, that they won't break, that they're going to be standardized based off of the programs, the applications that you might be developing. So that's our biggest goal as Catalyst Center upgrades, or as you upgrade your applications, that those APIs will not break, they will be standardized. And you can see a marking of one of these, anything with a V2 in them expresses that API first initiative. You can see LAN automation start V2, and eventually we're gonna have them all doing that, but give me just a sec, kick me out again. All right. Okay, I'll go back to platform. Developer toolkit. Okay, and then automation. So yeah, what I was saying is LAN automation version 2. This indicates, like, let's say you wanted to have an application that just automatically, once it detects that like you're ready to deploy like a network, or you want any specifics on starting LAN automation, you can create an application that enacts that, and then possibly takes information, retrieves information from that, and then potentially sends it to a change management system, which can leverage that data and show that the request was complete. So that's just an example of how you can leverage APIs to do that. You would click on the actual item itself, and all right, it's not going to load, but essentially what will happen is it's having some issues right now. This is Instant Lab, so it's not the official Catalyst Center, but essentially what will happen is that's going to bring you to somewhat of a documentation page where you can view that information and see how you can interact with that specific API using various parameters, various queries to that URL, and interact with it, get information back, and then utilize that information to expand on the applications that you develop. With that, I'll go ahead and hand it back over to you, Brian.
All right, guys. Excellent demo, Casey. Appreciate it. And here we'll go ahead and we'll cover our key points to remember. So like Casey shared, right, with the compliance checker tool, so now you can identify and remediate issues if your configurations have changed on your network devices. You've got your template hub organization. So we got our new templates that help improve the overall management and automatically detect conflicts between templates. Our multiple LAN automation, so you can streamline your LAN automation tasks to your LAN environment. So now you could do 5 simultaneous upgrades at 5 different sites to save you time. And also our expanded API support. So we have new sets of APIs, but like Casey was sharing, all right, we've got the old API and the new version 2 API. So if you build something, it still works. And then that gives you time to transition over to the new version 2 or the newer version of the API to continue using it. So hopefully you guys found today's information valuable, and it encourages you to upgrade to the newer version. The 2.3.7.9 is our new golden image release. And I look forward to answering questions, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the use of Catalyst Center. And if you're not, hopefully this entices you to do that.
Thanks so much, Brian. Really appreciate it. We are to our Q&A portion of today's event. We are up against time here, but I do want to take a moment to talk to Brian and Casey about a few questions that have come through. We've seen a few come in. Really appreciate you all's participation. Let's start with this first question. How's Catalyst Center useful for someone in IT and infrastructure supporting customers on their BAU?
If you're going to be supporting customers from that perspective, Catalyst Center does a great job at analyzing data. It really depends on what you're going to be supporting, though. Are you supporting them with design, implementation, operations? Catalyst Center has the ability to handle all of that from all aspects, many different capabilities, many different features to do that. So it really depends kind of like how you will be supporting your customers from that.
Great. Thank you, Casey. Here's another question from Rob. Is there a point where future Catalyst Center will not be able to be installed on older DN2 appliances when they go into life?
Probably at some point. Yeah, I would say at some point. But right now the DN2s and the DN3s are the ones. The DN1s are end of life. So folks should be looking at migrating or considering maybe the virtual environments.
As it stands right now, I believe for DN2 appliances, I sent a link there in the thing in the Slido panelist room. But like it looks to be, and this is always subject to change, but it'll be March 2029. So quite a ways out.
Some time, yeah.
Yeah.
Some time. This question just came in. Any guide to install a new DNAC appliance? Currently, we have one up and running on 2.3.7.9, and I want to configure the second along with the witness node.
So I'm not sure that the question is they're looking for guidance on the second node, or I'm trying to see.
Yeah, installing the new. Sorry, it's in the pending side of things. No worries. We can circle back to that question too. We'll come through some of these questions we won't be able to address and at least answer them on the Slido portion. So if you do have a question that is pending that we won't be able to get here live, no worries. We'll double back and get that question answered. Casey, I do want to kick it to you once more before we wrap up. Do you have anything else you'd like to share with our attendees?
Look out for 3.1 coming out soon. I don't have an anticipated date for you yet, but it is coming. So something to be very excited about. And I'm sure we'll be doing quite a bit of webinars on that to get you up to speed as well. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining. I hope y'all got a lot of information, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks so much, Casey. Brian, I want to give you a platform once more. Is there anything else you'd like to talk to our attendees about here before we wrap up?
Sure. Look out for the Catalyst Center Global Manager of Managers in the future too. So we've got some exciting new things coming out that way. So look forward to sharing more information with you guys.
Thanks so much, Brian. Really appreciate it. Thank you once again to Brian, Casey, as well as our producer of today's event, James McDonough, and the whole team for bringing your knowledge to the Cisco community today. If you do have an additional question for Casey or Brian, we'll keep that Q&A panel open on Slido for a few more moments. So come through and ask us a question. We'll get that answered. We also ask that you please take a moment in answering questions on our post-event survey on Slido that is now live. It will help us prepare for some future sessions. We really appreciate your feedback on that. For even more tutorials, demonstrations, and future webinars, please visit the Cisco Learning Network. You can follow up with any further questions, view resources from today's session, as well as its recording through our post-event webinar discussion thread on the Cisco Learning Network. Once again, we thank you everybody for joining us today, and we will see you next time on the Cisco Learning Network.